Welcome back, everyone. I'm Trip Foreman.
I'm Jason Slezak.
And this man right in between the two of us, he needs, I guess he does need an introduction because he's just kind of sitting here in between the two of us, but Triple S champion 2018, Hood Gem champion 2018, KPL overall men's winner 2018, and AWSI Kiteboarder of the Year, Brandon Scheid.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Welcome back, Brandon.
Thank you.
Give us, after all those accomplishments last year, why don't you give us, what was going on last year? What was in your Wheaties?
What was in my Wheaties? I don't know. I think I just really wanted to have, to prove myself against a rotating field of people, because I think when I first started riding in these kind of contests, it was like with Jason and Andre, and there was like Joby and Dylan and like all these people that have made time in the Triple S. And to me, I really wanted to just focus on proving myself against the new field of people. There's like a bunch of new faces that have come into the Triple S in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 years. And so I think I was just extremely motivated by that fact. Like, nothing in the Wheaties.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Just
no supplements?
No, just lots of food, lots of carbs.
Any essential oils?
No essential, coconut oil.
Coconut oil. Is that essential or semi-essential?
I don't know. I don't think it's essential.
It should be, though.
I use frankincense every now and again, too.
Well, you mentioned the field of the new people coming up. So, as we were discussing earlier, you've been here for every Triple S, and even before that, when we had, some other events that sort of turned into what is the Triple S Invitational. And now, what area, where do you see progression for, not just in yourself, but in the field for the 2019 Win Voyager Triple S Invitational?
So who you feel is improving the best, or where I see improvement?
Even on the side of the riding and the level of riding and maybe what people are doing to progress further and beyond, say, the 2018 Triple S.
I think you see a lot more focus on technique, people really executing their tricks extremely well. I would hope that there's a push for amplitude, especially off the kicker, try to elevate all the tricks. So just, another 3 feet in the air.
People are going higher, people are going further, essentially putting more energy and effort into each trick.
Yeah, and risk as well, right? If you land, it's all gravy, but if you don't land...
Yeah, the bigger you go, the harder you fall.
Yeah. So I think that the actual technique has improved. I think there's people as well in the field that are really hungry, people who feel they're going to use this to prove themselves or prove that they can hold their own with the best of the world's kiteboarders in this particular discipline. And I think that's driving the progression of certain people as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who do you see? We've had a lot of good conditions leading up to the event. Who do you see out there that's a standout coming into this year's event?
Do I get just one?
Let's go with 3.
Okay, so there's Ewan is always really good. He doesn't always execute perfectly every time, but overall his consistency is really good, and his level of tricks is really high. So he's always considered really good. And then there's some sneaker people. There's Rami and Xander who are getting really amazing little hits here and there, but maybe not the consistency is there as some of the other echelon riders. And I guess lastly, I just have to say Aaron Hadlow, he's insanely good at kiteboarding. And he's just deadly. He can go upwind faster than everyone. He gets more hits than everyone.
Right.
And he's really talented.
You think he can get back on the podium?
I think,
sure?
Yeah, I think honestly, there's 8 or 9 people that could, about the men's final, when you look at who will seed into the final, I think if anyone has can have their day,
Well, and I've made some passes on some downwinders while you guys have all been out there, and girls have been out there riding. So I think, you're a serious contender with all the other group too. But you might not be able to say yourself, which is
it's hard to see where you know what tricks you do, but you can't ever see them from an outside perspective, and it's always hard to rank yourself amongst other people. You can only see what you can see. And I think it's going to be really competitive. It's always really competitive, right? There was maybe a couple years where it was cruisy for everyone, way back. But nowadays, it's cutthroat.
Comes down to conditions and how people are feeling and who gets the good hits.
Yeah. Honestly, it's every dog has their day, right? Anyone could potentially do the most amazing 5 hits,
So one thing that we were really fortunate enough to be able to do this year is have equal pay for men and women. Both gender disciplines in the the event. What are your thoughts on that happening, in the Wind Voyager Triple S Invitational?
I think it's a great thing. I argued for a long time for equal prize money for the girls. Obviously, I date one of the girl competitors. I'm friends with Colleen and Anna Luce and Carolina and all of them. And, the argument has always existed because it's hard. There's less competitors and, you can argue that like, oh, the guys do better tricks. But at the end of the day, like they're still trying as hard as they can. And they're still like working just as hard. I mean, just because a 720 is hard for a guy, it's equally as hard for a girl to do a 540 or even a 720. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they're pushing their own gender, then it's like, man, they deserve just as much as they can get.
And I think like what you said, looking for that more amplitude and focus on technique. Like I know watching, all the girls ride here last year and Hood all throughout the season, back here again this spring, like they are definitely all pushing themselves and each other within that group of women riders. And
I think it's well deserved. Like, great. Kudos on you and all the sponsors involved for making that happen. I think it's makes sense.
Yeah, we're definitely excited about it. It's a big, there's a lot of different milestones in the history of this event, and that it's definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah.
How about off the water? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy off the water and cross training?
Okay. Here in Cape Hatteras, we've been surfing. We had a really good run of swell the last couple of days, so that was really fun. Doing a bit of just like stretching and working with home guy from Hood River. He's got me on all these exercise programs. This guy Rich. And just trying to, do things that keep my body strong and moving. I think movement is key.
Right.
The longer you sit, the more rickety you feel, kind of.
What about, we've seen you up in the air and then, with some different kites and no boards. What's up with that sport?
I have slowly been learning to paraglide as a side sport to kiteboarding. You guys here have the dune you can walk over and you have surf at your doorstep. Ours is like 3 hours away, so it's kind of like a mission. But if there's no wind, it's a great side activity. So slowly trying to fly around in the paraglider and figure it all out. It's really
I can see you're as humble about your paragliding as you are about
it's really scary.
I didn't see anything slow in the video.
Yeah, it's really scary because, it's when you make one decision that leads to another set of decisions, and if you make the wrong one, it can cascade, and all of a sudden you're in a really bad situation before you know it, and it takes time to. I came out of it really confident because I was like, oh, this is like kiteboarding. Like I feel the control, I feel the wind, but things can go wrong really fast.
In the learning curve of paragliding, is there anything that's coming over from that back into kiteboarding? Like if you said that kiteboarding helped you a little bit, is there anything that's coming back?
Yeah, I'm not so scared when I'm kiteboarding anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like a bit less adrenaline than running off a mountain and all that,
I can imagine.
So you kind of mellows everything out a little bit, gives you good perspective.
Sleets, let's talk about Send It and sending it.
Yeah, what do you think on the Send It premiere? The movie last year was a big part of the of the event and after the event.
Yeah.
And we were all, it was a really cool experience, I think, for everybody. But what are your thoughts on the Send It movie premiere?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's going to be great. Like, I mean, no matter what, it's an amazing thing for the sport of kiteboarding. It's probably going to be hilarious. I imagine it'll be a good time to watch the movie with everybody, especially going through the process of like being behind the scenes and seeing how it was filmed, and then be like, oh yeah, I recognize that shot when they were doing that one thing. Like, it'll be kind of cool to have a little inside perspective on it. So I'm really excited to see the cut and the edit and everything, and like I hope it portrays kiteboarding and us well, and I mean, I'm sure it's going to be hilarious.
And then I know we just pulled you off the water for this. You still have wet shorts. Talking about maybe going back out there again. What do you think it's going to take for you to end up at the top of the podium this year again and take the win?
Ooh, I think some hard tricks, some big amplitude, and just like, have a good day. You got to have a good mindset and a good, I guess, eat a really big giant plate of food before you compete, and feel like you're in the moment so you don't have to stress or worry or anything.
Well, I know after all these years of riding with you, both training for the events and during events, you always ride better when you're having fun. So
very true. Very true.
I hope you have a good time out there. Thank you.
Yeah, no stress.
And
I'll give you a handshake.
For sure.
Yeah.
Very serious.
Yeah, this is very serious.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I guess tune in for more action as the Triple S unfolds. It's going to be a killer year.
TripleSinvitational.com. Thanks for tuning in.
Get some.